everybody. It's Angie Rupert, founder of Rupert Law Group. We handle exclusively E-2 and E-1 visas, so no matter what treaty country you're from or where you want to be, we can help. Before we start today, I'd like to take just a moment to please ask you to hit the little bell for notifications, and please subscribe if you find these videos useful, and we hope that you do. And always feel free to share with a friend or family member who may also be interested in the E-2 or E-1 visa, the E-2 or E-1 visas. So let's talk a little bit about buying a portion of an existing business. This is super common in the world of E-2 visas. So if that's something you're interested in, you're in great company. We handle that a lot. Something I'd like, I want to go over a couple of tips that I think is just going to make things a little bit easier for you if, in fact, you do want to buy the majority portion of an existing business. So number one, make sure, just like with the purchase of any business when you're dealing with the E-2 visa, you should have some sort of appraisal or valuation so you can get the fair market value of the business. Don't just take it from the seller's point of view, right? The seller obviously wants to make as much money as possible, and that's fantastic, as any seller should. But we need to make sure that you're paying the fair market value. So that goes both ways, right? Some people may say, well, this business is really worth $1 million and I'm giving it to you for a couple $100,000. That could raise some red flags. But what about the other way? This business is really worth a couple $100,000 and I'm going to sell it for $1 million. Well, that's not great either, right? For a wide variety of reasons, well outside of the immigration realm as well. So make sure that you are getting an independent appraisal or valuation. Don't have the seller's broker do it, and don't have the seller do it. They are very, very motivated, and they have their own reasons for doing an appraisal or valuation that may not be exactly right. So please get an independent company who regularly and routinely values and appraises businesses in your area. Okay? So that's step number one. Step number two, anytime you're going to be buying a business from someone, the question's going to probably come up at your interview, how do you know this person, or how did you ever find this business? So in any case, the answer, I guess, can be anything you want. But if the answer is, well, it's my brother's business, there could be a couple of things to consider, right? Sometimes the consulate feels that you might be trying to get around immigration laws, right? So you know that if you have a U.S. citizen sibling, they could apply for you, right? They could file an I-130 and you could get in line for a green card. However, we all know that takes 10 to 12 years in most cases, sometimes longer. And if they see that you're buying a business from a sibling, they may just think, hey, they're trying to get their sibling here as quickly as possible and are bypassing some of the immigration rules. And so that could become an issue. Another reason we want to get that valuation, right? To make sure that you're paying the fair market value. But the assumption could still be there. Well, as soon as the wheels touch down, the sibling is just going to give back this E-2 investor's money and everybody's going to go on their merry way. So in those instances, it is really important to consider if this is something you really, really want to do, right? Because there could be some issues. Those are some questions and considerations that come up at the interview. Now, can you absolutely not do it at all? No, you could still do it, but you really need to make sure that everything is buttoned up and everything looks great, right? So one of the things that you may want to do is, if it is with a sibling, first of all, for sure, you're both going to need to hire corporate attorneys to write the purchase agreement, review it, and it needs to be really, really thorough, okay? And legal. Right? This isn't just like a friendly note, hey, I'll buy this from you and we'll see what happens here. And no. This needs to be really, really, really professional and very legal. Okay? So that's going to be number one. Number two, what we normally recommend in cases like that is that you put the money into the business account, right? It never goes to the sibling. It goes into the business account and then it's spent from the business account. So there is no way to give that money back, right? So that's something else to consider if you're buying it from a family member. Now, I mentioned sibling. It could be other types of family members. The same considerations and questions and potentially suspicions will apply. So always keep that in mind. So if you are buying it from someone who is not a relative, also fine, you can do that. However, they do want to know how you know this, because now you're going to be business partners with this person. So how do you know this person? just some person you found on the street and they said, yeah, I'll sell you a majority share of my business, but continue to work here? Maybe. And maybe that's accurate. That's fine. But always know that that question is going to come up. Okay. So those are some tips and some issues that come up a lot with people who want to buy portions of an existing business. Keep in mind that you always have to have a minimum of 50% ownership. We normally recommend 51% ownership. Okay. But those are some things to keep in mind. If you have any other questions about an E-2 visa or an E-1 visa for that matter, please reach out anytime. We would be thrilled to speak with you about your E-2 visa.